Man, what did Matthew Broderick say in Biloxi Blues? It's like Australia hot out here today. I think it was apricot. But it is hot out here. I bet, standing here in my garage, I'll bet we're north of 100 degrees in here easily right now. So we're going to go inside. I'm going to take you in the house and we're going to shoot in there. But I want to show you first what I'm up to here. So my youngest brother has asked me to cast him essentially a socket. Now, I'll put that, I'll put it right over there, I'll put a picture of what he's trying to make. He wants me to make him a socket that will fit on the end of his air gun. It's like a 3/8 inch fitting on the end. And then we'll plug into the other half of that thing that I showed you there. It's his lawnmower or something. And he wants to be able to try to start it with his air gun. And he wants me to cast him an aluminum socket to do it. I think there's at least two crazy ideas there. Life-threatening ideas. But I'm going to do it anyway, because it seems like a fun thing for me to do. There's going to be some challenges in it as far as how I'm going to get this thing done and figure it out how I'm going to make it. I have some ideas, and we're going to go inside and I'll bring up the modeling software and we'll spend some time looking at that and kind of show you my idea. And then I'm going to show you some stuff about pattern making as well that I've been doing. We'll see how that goes out too. So let's go inside where it's cool and get out of this heat. It's crazy out here. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to make this thing 3/8 of an inch, turns out to be 9.525 millimeters. So I'm just going to make it, I'm probably going to model it a little bit large because when we fix the pattern, we're going to fill in some of that. So I may make I may go like I may go 10. I may just go 10 millimeters across here. Inside, he said the shaft of that thing was 0.79 inches. That seems odd. Well, that turns out to be 20.066 millimeters. So we're going to go 20. I may go 21, 22. I don't know yet. 21 when I do the pattern. And then for as far as depth, where the socket goes in, I measured on that socket just over 12.5, so like half an inch. We'll go with 15 because it really doesn't matter to me how deep I go. And then the depth, he said he needed basically an inch to get onto that square shaft. So I've got all my measurements. Let me go turn the computer on here and look, it's already on. You see it's already on. Let me bring up the modeling software and we'll see what we're going to do. Oh, look, there it is. Let me start over here so we can record it. I'll be back. Okay, so this is the software that I use. It's called DesignSpark Mechanical. It was free. It was tough learning, but I like it now. It does just about everything I wanted to do, with one major flaw, but that's just with lettering. As far as doing parts like this, it works great. So what we're going to do first is I'm just going to orient this thing. We're in 2D mode right now. And I said that the inside square, and I'll just draw a square up here, it's going to make, it's 20.06. Let's just go 21 and 21. So there we got a 21 millimeter square, that's what they are. And then also I need a 3/8 inch square, so that's 9.5, and I said I was going to go 10. I think I said I was going to go 10 on that. So we'll go 10, and there's a 10 by 10 square. Now, the question is going to be, how big do I make a circle for this thing? I want to make sure I have enough depth between the corner and the outer wall of the socket. So I'm thinking this 40 looks like a pretty decent number. Let's start it way down here. 40. Oh, well, whatever. I'll move it, I guess. And we'll move it out of the way here. Now, those are all the main components, right? That's going to give me my 3/8 inch shaft in the back. It's going to give me the 0.79 inch hole in the front, and it's going to give me a solid wall for making my socket wall with. So now we're going to go to 3D mode, and I just want to put this thing together and kind of just see what it's going to look like really quick. So the first thing I'm going to do is, he said it had to be, whoops, let's go to pull. It had to be an inch thick, an inch deep here, and I know that I need at least half an inch, so that's 25, and 15 is 40 millimeters. Yeah, why don't we just go with 40 millimeters? Let's just see what that looks like. All right, so here's our 40 millimeter circle now. I can never see things when I do them in this orientation. I'm going to move this guy. One of the things you can do with DesignSpark is you can tell it to move to various surfaces. So we're going to move along the Z-axis out to this edge. And then I'm going to also, let's just do it this way so we can see it better. I'm going to center this thing this way, and I'm going to center it that way. Now, that gives me a square on the end of my cylinder here. Next thing I need to do is I need to pull that back in. I'm going to pull this thing back in. We said 25, we're going to go 25 millimeters back. And so now I have the socket itself is developed. I need to do the same thing with the center. Click that, move, boom. Go here, click that, move, boom. Now we're centered. Now I need to get it. I need to put that on the face of the of what I just cut. So I'm going to move. I'm going to move that surface. Let's try this again. Move the surface on the Z-axis back to here. Now I'm there. Finally, I want to pull this guy. I'm going to just pull it right back, way out of the back end. So now I've got a hole all the way through it, and I've got my socket. And that's basically what we're going to build, is that thing right there. Now, the question is, how are we going to pull this thing off? And I thought about, you know, I could ram sand in here, and I could ram sand in the smaller opening, and I could try to draft this thing, and just, it just was nothing was sounding right to me. And then I decided, I know what I can do. I can do this like I've learned before. So we're going to do a new design, and I'm going to show you what we're going to build. Well, we're going to build two pieces. First piece is we're going to build a pattern that we're going to ram up, and that is going to be very similar to the first one. We're going to do a 40 millimeter circle. We are going to do a 10 by 10 square, and then what was the other one? 21. How about 21? 21 by 21 rectangle. I'm going to go back to the 3D mode. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to pull him out again 40 millimeters like we did before. And then I'm going to put this face is going to come out flush with that face. Let's see if we can't do this. And then we're going to move it centered to here and center it to here. And then I'm going to do this. I am going to take this guy and I'm going to pull him out. It doesn't really matter how far out I go. Let's go 5. Not very far, but that'll be enough, I think. That's the first thing we're gonna put on our pattern. Now the second one is the other half of this thing, and we're going to take it, put it on the back side. So we're going to move out to our face. I'm going to move on the Z-axis. We're going to move it to this plane. Did you go to that plane? Yes, he's already at that plane. Let's move him to the center. And move him to the center. And now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to pull it 5 millimeters as well. And that is essentially, this is essentially what our pattern. I'm going to go ahead and round corners and things like that on it just to make it a little bit nicer. Like I can take this corner, this edge, and I can pull it down. You see right down here in the corner there's a, well, it was highlighted. Let's try that again. So you've got this round edge, or I can do a flat edge, kind of a diagonal edge. We're going to do the rounded edge, and I'm just going to pull that down. Let's go with like 0.75, just to give it sort of a nice radius to look at. And you can see that that's got a little bit of a radius on it now. It's just be a nicer surface for things. And we may put one on, I'll put one on the back side a little bit later too. But the idea is now we're going to ram this thing up. Now the next part I need to do is I want to do a new design again. And we're going to make the mold essentially for a core that I'm going to make. So we're going to do kind of the same thing again, only it's going to look a little bit different. This time, instead of being a square, let's do a square that is now, well, I know I'm 21 across for the opening, 21. Let's put a couple of millimeters on either side. So let's call it 25. Let's call this one here 25. And then I know half of 21 is 10.5, plus I want another, let's call it 2. So we'll go, with this one we're going to go 12.5. And you'll, this will all make sense here in a second. Then I'm going to want another triangle, which is 10.5 by 21. Oh, come on now. Let's try this again. And I'm going to do another triangle that is, we'll do 10.5 because that's half of 21. And on this edge we'll do 21. And I'll show you what that's going to end up being. And then I need, for my back edge of this thing, I need another one that's going to be not 10 by 10 this time, but 5 by 10. And now we'll model those things up. And this is going to be my pattern for making the core. So again, I want to pull this guy. This is the big one. I'm going to pull this out. I need to go 50 with it because we did 40 plus 5 plus 5 on the when we did the pattern before. Let's rotate that thing around. Let's bring this guy. Click on the Z-axis. We'll bring him out to this face, and we're going to take this one, and we're going to center him this direction. Let me turn this so we can all see it. All right, that's better. And then I'm going to take this thing. I'm going to move. And I'm going to move from that line to this line. So we're going to move that to here, and I'm going to click on that line, and now we've got that pattern. I told you that we were going to do 25. It's 25 millimeters deep for that thing. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to take this and we're going to pull it back 25. Boom. Now I've got that sitting there. Let's do the same thing now with this piece. We're going to move it. We'll center it on the part here. Rotate this thing to where I can see it. That's what I want right there. And then we will, oh yeah, we're going to bring this face out to that face. And we're going to bring this, we're going to move it again. I don't know if I can drag that. So we're going to move that line here down to this guy here. And then we're going to pull it. We're just going to pull it back like that. Happy little world, right? Now, if I take both of these pieces, let me grab the whole thing and copy it. And this has got one neat little feature about this software is if you paste, it'll paste right on top. So you have to move your part that you're crazy. Anyway, let's take this guy, rotate him 180 degrees. Go over to 180, And now we can look at them. This is what they're going to look like sort of together. Right? And you can start to see now, when I fill that full of my sand for making a core, what it's going to look like. I'm going to have, I'm pointing with my finger, you can't see that. And here I'm going to have the 1-inch square, and then back here I'll have the 3/8-inch square on the back side. And what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to just basically slice this off, the sand off, so it's flat. Now, once that's in the part, let me just take these pieces here, and we'll go back over to this design here, and I'll just paste it in. And now you can see what we're going to have. We're going to have a core that will sit flush with this edge and this edge. Hopefully, if I do that, and let's just take these guys and move them just to see. Let's move this edge to be congruent. That's a big word, isn't it? Congruent with this edge. And now let's look at them and see if they're the same length. And they look like they're the same length. So all I have to do is pack this full of my sodium silicate sand, let it harden, we'll trim it off, and then we'll have a core. So when I mold this up, when I ram this up into the pattern up into the sand, when I pull it out, I'm going to have a square indentation on the bottom, I'm going to have a square indentation on the top, and I'm going to have this big circle around the outside, and the core that I build will sit right here, and it will perfectly center it in the part, and I'm going to have a core that's going to work perfectly for me. So let me go ahead and do some stuff. Let me clean these things up. I'll come back. I'm going to show you one more part, and then we'll take it and we'll start printing it. Okay, I decided to make a couple of changes here, and I've added some tabs on here and some things to kind of guide, just to guide it, so I can slide these together now. So if I like click on this guy and I move him, you see kind of, if I click on him and move him, they'll fit together just like that when they're printed. So, boom. So that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to show you right now. I think I will come back in just a minute. Well, for you, just a second, but for me, hours later, after I print these guys, and I'll show you what the finished parts look like, and hopefully it'll look like it'll work. So I'll catch you here in a little while. Okay, so I have taken all the support material off these things. I thought I'd just show you a couple of pieces, and then we'll wrap her up. First, let me get up here close so we can't focus. Remember this nub? This is supposed to be a 3/8 inch for the core, 3/8 inch for our 3/8 inch socket, and that is what this core channel is going to build. So I did check; those actually do fit together well. So that means when I make my sand, it'll be the same size as this thing. Same with this end right here. Yeah, it fits on there without any problem. So the sand, when I mold up my core, it will be the same size as this piece. Now, hopefully this piece is the size that he needs it to be, because I have no way of checking it. I have no way of measuring it. But this I did verify this with a socket. It is the right size. So I also went ahead on these guys. I kind of, you'll see I did them a little bit different. One has got sort of rails on it, and one's got a peg. And the idea here was that as I put these things, I want to be able to put them together. And when I do the sand, and it won't go together now because there's so much support material still in there. Basically like that. That way I know that everything's lined up, everything's square inside. Where's the thing? Right there. You can see right through that. And it just helps me hold them together. When I go to, I'm going to clamp them when I'm ramming the sand in there. But that just kind of gives me a little guideline to make sure everything's good. That's it. I wanted to just take a chance to, I've had people ask me in the past about, making the patterns and using my 3D printer and stuff, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you what goes through when I make a pattern. I have more work to do on these guys, and the next video I do on this subject, I'll show you how I'm going to finish these guys off. I'll show you how I'm going to smooth them up so that they're easy to use, come out of the casting or the molding sand easily. We're going to do some new things. I'm going to try some stuff I haven't done before to see if we can't get these things really nice and smooth and shiny and releasable. So that's it. Keep her out for the next video when I do show the, you know what, let's do something really goofy. I'm going to link it right over here. I'm going to put a link right up there. It's not ready yet, but when it is ready, it'll be right there. And that's going to be kind of an interesting thing. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you guys can click right there. You have a great day.